Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 3rd meetup for the Art Alliance for Contemporary Glass. And today we have something special. We have Hal and Myra Weiss, very renowned collectors here and who've been here at almost every meeting we've had for the last year and a half. Have done a walkthrough yesterday of the pieces that are up so far at Habatat. And they've stopped at 10 pieces to discuss them. So it's going to give us just a taste of the 50th. I'm sure there'll be broader coverage of more work in the 50th at a different Zoom, but today we're going to focus on the ones that they thought were kind of interesting so that we get a taste and maybe we decide to drive up. I'm flying, I'll be there, and many of the people here will be at the event live, probably the last live event for the year, but we're going to push on and get through it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen right away and we'll go through this. It's a little soft, so just listen on that, but it's not terrible. So here we go. We start, of course, with our thank you to all of AACG family, because without them, there wouldn't be a Habatat. There wouldn't be, you know, all of this has been spectacular. And so a little thank you to every single person who's, especially those who stayed with us this last year and a half for all these different Zooms that we've been doing. There's your RSVP. There's your date, September 9th, 10th, and 11th. It'll be at Habatat. There's a wide variety of activities that are going to be happening at the event. Simultaneously, there's something called Glass Art Fair, which is a simultaneous online fair because it's impossible to put everything that's spectacular being made for the 50th up. So the Glass Art Fair will be there. It'll be more of a constant thing that'll be hanging out whenever there is a larger art fair. So if you go to glassartfair.com, I believe the password is VIP Glass, or is it Glass VIP?
Glass VIP.
Glass VIP. And that'll get you in so you can look at the work as there as well. All right. And of course, we're here to thank Myra and Hal, and they're listening in quietly. And thank you so much for taking the time yesterday. I'm sorry we couldn't do it today, but as we said, we're pivoting. So here we go, guys.
Hi, sweetie.
Here we are.
I'm Myra Weiss.
I'm Hal Weiss.
And we just want to say that it has been our pleasure to be involved in the contemporary glass movement for over 30 years now. And it's been our good fortune to become Habatat addicts, as well as good friends with Kathy and Ferb Hampson, and now with Aaron and Corey. This has been an amazing journey for us, and we would be happy to show you the current exhibition.
Okay, so we'll move forward. I guess they started right with Lubinsky.
I'm Myra Weiss.
I'm Hal.
Here we go. So I guess they went straight to Lubinsky's. Now, if anyone would like to say something about Lubinsky, this is the time that you would unmute yourself and say any story you might have about the Lubinskys or their work, if any of the people here know them. These are not in the auction. These are actually in the actual 50th anniversary. So we started.
Can you run it back so that we hear what the Hal and Myra said about those? I think you skipped.
No, they didn't speak on these specifically. They just put in afterwards. On the rest of them, they speak on those specifically. And when we do hear the videos, every minute or so, it stops for 1 second. It's just part of it because it's connected to YouTube. That's where the videos are embedded. So you'll apologize on that.
Hey,
So,
Tim, I'll talk for a second if I could.
please do, Howard.
I've been teaching classes on glass art, and obviously the Lubinskys are just so fascinating to the students and to me. I don't own one, but the first piece you showed, the gray piece,
There.
I have a little maquette of that in their, stunning amber color. And one of the fascinating things about them is they learned how to make these kind of concavities, I believe that's a word, I'm not sure. I'm an actuary, not an English person. I am, yeah, okay. And it just explodes in color when the sunlight is behind it. They figured out how to do these concavities that sort of bring the light into their piece and then emanates out of the piece. So I just wanted to say how much the people that I'm exposing to glass art, just how much they're taken by the Lubinskys and the work that they do.
Thank you, Howard.
Hey, Tim, this is Alex again. I think I really just believe that this is the reason I started casting. Like, obviously, the Lubinskys introduced glass casting to the world. But I feel like I have direct lineage from them. I studied with a guy, František Janák, who was a student of Professor Lubinsky. And I don't think there's a lot of American glass casters. Maybe there's some that have this direct lineage from the Lubinsky. So every time I see it, I think, well, this is my professor too. Even though I was never able to meet them, I feel like I'm looking at who I studied with. Really just amazing work.
You know, I feel like a lot of artists, you can see who the lineage is. You can see who their parents are in a way. And
Right.
you can see your parents in your work,
Yeah.
like the Lubinsky parents.
I was a glass blower. And then in grad school, went to Fraunau, Germany, actually, and then the Czech Republic, and actually met František Janák. And in Prague, I was like, wow, cast glass has an energy and it has a life of its own. It has like a soul. And I was like, I need to learn how to do this. Then the next semester I got back, all of a sudden František Janák showed up as a visiting professor. So it was just like serendipity that I was able to learn this tradition. So
There
I
you
feel
go.
really lucky.
Thank you for speaking, Alex.
Sure.
Okay, now we're on to the next one. All right.
This piece by Stephen Powell caught my eye the minute I saw it because it's so unusual and so unique. Not so much in the shape, but in the way he did the Murinis. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, Stephen Powell passed away within the past year, but I think that his memory is fully captured in the magnificent work he's done.
And I just want to thank Erin and Habitat for helping me obtain one of these for the Smithsonian American Art Museum Renwick collection. It is a great honor to include him in their collection.
Okay, we'll move on. And there are the stills of those pieces they have from Stephen Powell. Myra and I serve on the same acquisitions committee for the Smithsonian's 50th anniversary collection, and they're adding 100 pieces. So it's nice to know that one of Myra's got on there. Does anyone want to say anything about Stephen Powell's work while we're here?
Yeah, Tim.
Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
No, who was that?
It's Marilee.
Oh, go ahead.
Stephen Powell's, a piece we have of his, Sultry Buns Smith, was the first piece that Rick and I ever bought, first piece of glass that we bought. Before we got married, we weren't even engaged at the time. We just were taken with it. And so that was the beginning of our glass collecting journey.
What a good beginning.
Yeah.
Auspicious. Larry,
So, yes, so the piece that Hal and Myra just featured is really unique Marinis for all the Stephen Powells that we've all seen. I just recently saw a very similar work that was at the Duncan McClellan Gallery, and the Marinis really look like a Klimt painting. It's really, they're quite unique and significantly different than his phenomenal pieces, either the bilobed or trilobed pieces that we're so familiar with. So I think that Hal mentioned how unique these Marinis were, but when you see them, they're almost like the dress draped over the Klimt paintings. They're quite unique.
A nice image. Anyone else? Okay, move on. Now I swear this is not a setup. I did not know that we were going to be on there. I took this over not knowing who Hal and Myra were going to go look at. So because I don't want it to be a setup, I'm not going to talk about this work. So I have a guest who I did it with.
From the other studio to here.
All right, so first we'll hear what Myra and Hal have to say.
Is a remarkable work by Tim Tate and Michael Janis. We have been big fans of theirs for a long time, both individually and collectively. This piece represents objects from everyday life and how they impact us and become so significant to us in our daily living. I love this work of theirs because it's a storyboard from which you can tell your own stories and enjoy looking at the beautiful art they've created from these everyday items.
This particular panel, I think, is wonderful, not only in the subject matter, but also in the variety of colors. Those of you who know Tim's work know that these pieces are often monochromatic. In other words, they're all the individual items are one color, but this one is multicolored. So I think both Tim and Michael continue to surprise us and exceed our expectations. So I think that this piece looks even better in person than I think it does on the video that you're seeing. So the poetry of everyday items was a favorite of poet Neruda, and I think that's what inspired this work.
Okay, so I won't talk about it because I'm a host and I can't. So Michael will talk.
Well, okay. When Tim and I were working on doing another collaborative piece, we said, let's do something that kind of speaks to the climate of our times, the things you often overlook, and how do you celebrate it, and how do you make important things you normally would just pass over and say, I pay no attention to that. We also wanted to explore different colorways and say, let's make it a different feel completely to what we had been making. So we just started saying, let's really kind of focus on individual objects that might be expressive, but only when you really look at it and explore it as a way to say, how do different colors play into it? And so I started doing some recent works with Habatat for the Not Grandma's Glass, and I was using opaque colors, and they were really, Tim really liked the way that the feel was. And we said, what if we expanded the color range and really just started experimenting with that? So Tim had a person that you had with the artwork. Do you like the poetry or the artwork?
Oh yeah, when I was showing at the Taubman Museum, a lot of you know the Taubman Museum in Roanoke, I was showing with a guy who my name is forgotten. Oh my God, Kyle Johnson. Oh my God, sorry, Kyle. But he did this. He would draw everything that he had in his garage, or he would draw all the clothes he owned. And he would do it on video as he drew it, and then take off what he had at the end and be naked, and then walk out of the video. But we'd have talks about this all the time about the beauty of these individual objects. So that was where the first kind of kernel of that might be a good thing for us to take.
Yeah, and I also started picking up on Pablo Neruda's Ode to Common Things.
Sure.
But he's liking all these kind of things that you just kind of are considered almost inconsequential. But you now can say, but that's an important part. And it's got a life of its own. It's got a spirituality of its own. And it's got a character of its own. That we said, I bet we could draw these kind of feelings out into it. So we did spend some time just saying, what are the correct objects? We did a number of these castings that we didn't use because it just didn't read as way we wanted it. Some things we didn't know if we could actually do a casting of some of these elements. The teapot was really deep to make that kind of a casting, but it came out beautiful. And some of the ones we said, let's really kind of, because I'm going to explore architectural things, so you see more building objects in there. But I just like the way that it all goes together and becomes a new story about how you can find a meaning in things that you normally don't think there's a meaning in part of it.
We tried so many different color combinations. There's probably half this many again of things we tried and it didn't work out. So we're very happy the way this one finally came to its final conclusion.
And it's really got a nice hand to it. The shapes of them have a nice dimensions quality to them. The way that they catch the light. I think in the next image you have, it really shows how deep they are and how strong they come out. This was when we were piecing it together to say what goes next to what. But it really read well, and we were really happy with how it came out.
And that's 6 foot by 6 foot, just to give you a scale for everybody. Okay, moving on. All right, here we go. This is going to be Christina Bothwell.
Christina Bockwell. Part of the joy of collecting contemporary glass art is getting to know the artists and interact with them. We've always been fond of Christina's work and her as a person, but this work, to me, is an extraordinary piece because of the construction that she's been able to achieve. Glass is always magical. Her work is often mystical as well. And it just is a piece that you can talk about for hours, trying to explain what it means to you and perhaps what it means to her.
All right, move forward. And that monkey is everything, folks. I love that monkey. But who would like to talk about Christina Bothwell? Any stories you might have of her or her work? This is a good time to jump in. Unmute yourself. I was lucky enough, the only time Christina Bothwell has ever taught, I got to co-teach with her because she is so shy. She thought she would never have to worry because I would never let her be shy, and it worked wonderfully. So a huge fan of hers. I've known her for a long time, and it's really great to have her in the show with this new monkey work. So if you get a chance, come on down to Habitat to see them. Oh, that's right. Here's more of hers. Okay. All right. We're moving to the next one. This is Michael Janis again. He's like hogging this thing. So we're going to let him on here. This is Myra and Hal, and they're talking about Michael's individual work now.
Whenever I come to a Habitat show, I'm always struck by these magnificent wall pieces by Michael Janis. Not only are they technical tour de forces, but they remind me in some ways of Bertillo Velene's Heads, in which he tries to capture the fact that you can't really know what someone is thinking or what they're about just by looking at their face. And I think these pieces try to capture the same thing, that human beings are multifaceted organisms. Here at the show, I'm looking at these three fantastic wall pieces. There's one across the way here that maybe Aaron can show. I'm struck up by them every time I see them. We have a wonderful one in our collection as well. So, Michael, keep it up. You're doing great work.
All right, we'll move forward. By the way, I watch him make all these pieces. These are the two new ones for the 50th. I'm telling you to watch him do it. Remember, for those of you who don't know his technique, he doesn't draw this on there. This is all sifted black powder, and he uses razor blades and erasers and everything else. So every line you see is push powder or sifted powder. And in some way, he draws these by simply pushing powders around and firing them in. So I'm sure he wouldn't have gone into that. So I'll hand it over to either him or anyone else who would like to say something about Michael Janis.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about these pieces. And I want to say thanks to Hal and Myra for highlighting my work and to Habitat, and say thanks again, be part of that family. But the works in the large works that they were standing next to, it kind of is a reminder of our times where we do feel dislocated in a surreal world, that there's a kind of we're waiting for the whole world to come back together again, that we're all living fragmented lives. But for these pieces that I made for the 50th, I wanted to be just a little bit more straightforward. These are smaller works, they're 20 by 30. And I like the way that the floral patterns, and just went back to some of my previous directions that I went with, where I'm kind of overlaying florals with the figure. So for the woman, I have her dress going from a rendered fabric and pattern to a dimensional cast pattern. And for the man, I wanted to have the floral pattern kind of be both on his clothing and on his body. So I had made it so that there's the feeling of floral tattoos just climbing up all over his arms and up his neck. One of our studio coordinators, as he moved to Georgia, he had left Glass and became a tattoo artist. So I actually used some of the way that he was applying the patterns on his life people to the figure that I was making. So it's kind of actually a little bit of a reference to Evan from Georgia. But I like the way that these kind of have dialogue together. And I also like that they have a strength by themselves to, you're drawn into them. You kind of want to know about them. A lot of times the romantics would have the portrait facing away so that you're kind of trying to know a little bit more about them. And since I do a lot of figure studies, I do want you to be part of that subject, to say I'm drawn in and I'm seeking to see what they're seeing.
Okay, anybody else?
I'd like to say a couple words again, Tim.
Okay,
I am so grateful for my friendship with Tim, Michael, and Erwin. I think I've taken like 10 groups of people to their studio, which is only about an hour away from me, and everyone thoroughly enjoys the experience. Tim and Michael have taught classes for me. You know, like I'll do a 5 or a 4 lecture series, and darn if Michael doesn't show up, and I've asked him to because I know he's such an interesting story, as is Tim's. All of our life stories are unique and special. But I'd just like to express my gratitude in front of all these folks.
thank you, Howard. That's very nice. Appreciate it.
If I may, Tim, just quickly,
Sure.
I just want to give Michael a huge compliment, because always when I look at your work, I feel drawn in, and there's an intimacy that you achieve in your work, which I find very rare and very beautiful. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great.
You know, I'll tell you, we came to Habitat late, but we were so proud to be there that we have worked amazingly hard to make sure we have a place there among these stars. So it's wonderful to work with all you all, because we have that much more to achieve and strive for. So
Yeah.
Can I touch on that also,
sure.
on Michael's work? Yeah, I have to agree with Peter's phraseology. Like, the work is haunting. It's to the point where you can't get it out of your mind. It's a piece that will stick out. And the way that he treats the figure in almost a in kind of a cubist manner on the larger panels, where you're seeing segments and facets of the interaction, it lends itself to a different type of narrative that you don't normally see in portraiture. So bravo. These pieces are amazing as well, but that's these are great.
Thanks, Joe. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on. But I did not know who was on this till this morning when I opened this thing. So this was not done we didn't have anything to do with it. This was all Aaron. Okay, here we go. This looks like a Peter Bremmer's. If I'm not mistaken, I'm vibrating. All right.
I'm here at the Peter Bremmer's corner. So Peter's work is always astounding. He's inspired by sea life, and you can see his love of sea life in the work he does. These are large to giant pieces. Their size, their color, their shape, all speak to the beauty of the natural world and reflect his love of nature. I think these pieces would be a significant contribution to anyone's collection.
All right. Now, here we go. Peter, would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
I will, but I would like to start with just saying a big thank you to Hal and Myra for picking it out and for what they said. I'm touched by that because it's very sweet, and I know these are people that love sculpture, and I'm most and foremost a sculptor, so that's a nice compliment. About this piece, empathy. Empathy is an opaline. Actually, the glass on purpose was fired twice. This is a outdoor glass, EX glass, low expansion. It was fired twice to get this beautiful pink, very soft. It's polished, but it's very, very soft to the eye, and it responds beautifully to light. And for me, empathy is maybe the most beautiful quality that we as human beings have, because it's where we not just reach out to others, it's where empathy is often without words. It goes beyond just, let's say, feeling sorry for somebody. Empathy is about understanding that we all have our ups and downs, that we all have our crosses to bear, even the ones that from the outside look so incredibly lucky to others, you know. So empathy is about the bending of the head. It's about the integrity of truly feeling for your fellow man in a way that doesn't ask for recognition, that is just there. And what I personally love about this sculpture is that it has that kindness, but at the same time it also has the introvertness that almost is, for me, is part of being empathetic. You know, it's not something you scream from the top of your lungs. It's a very quiet, very introvert gesture, feeling, and the sculpture for me has exactly that expression. So as you can tell, I'm pretty happy with it. And the colors are just stunning. It's a stunningly beautiful pink. So, all right, that's what I would like to say about it.
Thank you so much, Peter. I will tell you, as when we came there 10 years ago to Habatat, or 12 years, whatever it was, you were one of the most welcoming people there. And I want you to know how appreciated you are by so many, which I'm sure you already know, but I'm really happy that you're on that family and in this family. You've taught me so much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Oh, there's more of yours. Hey.
Oh.
Yeah, tell us about these.
This sculpture, this is in my garden of my new house. And I cannot tell you how much, I rarely have a chance to put a piece of myself in my garden. Mostly if I do it, I just do it to take a photograph. This one I installed and I just left it. I mean, I got the crate ready to ship it whenever I need to, but I just find this piece to be so magical. And it's from my vibrational series. It's called Vibrational Deity. And when I made the model, you know, you guys that always make a model in a non-transparent material, I just wanted to touch on, again, it's a very spiritual piece like the last one. I wanted to touch on the best of our beings, of our spiritual being. And so this vibrational deity is not a person, it's almost like the aura of a person, but I can also see in it the veil of Mother Maria, if you like. So it has I'm not, you know, I'm not want to be religious, but it almost has a Christian quality to it. But it's so magical in the light, and the piece looks like it weighs nothing. It's not a big piece, but believe me, it's still 185 pounds. It's very heavy, but it's very translucent, and it changes all the time during the day. I wish it was actually in your show, but like I said to Aaron, you could never light it in the gallery the way it looks outside. It's just, it's such an enjoyable piece. I enjoy it.
So this is part of the glass art fair rather than the 50th.
Yes.
Okay. So people know where to find it if they want to look more about it.
Mhm.
I love this piece, Peter. Congratulations.
Alex.
Really, really beautiful. How it captures the light is just you're right, it has this energy and this aura. It almost looks ephemeral, like a piece of ice that would just disappear, but it's there forever. It's really beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Tim, I just want to say how much we enjoy listening to Peter. He is so spiritual and so cerebral and so worldly that I always find myself learning from him and just listening to him, and his soothing dulcet tones are always a pleasure.
He will always be the great and grand priest of glass to all of us, I think.
Thanks, Tom.
I would like to say something.
Sure.
Okay. Barry and I have a piece of Peter's early work, and we acquired it during the Antarctica era. And we had been there, and we had a picture of a piece that we just loved. And we said, could you make it for us? And he said, yes, I'll try. And sure enough, he made this piece that's just amazing. And we love it. And I think Peter's work has grown so much now, and it's wonderful.
Thank you, guys. You're so sweet.
You
I'm
are
glad you're still liking that piece. You've had it for a long time.
Yes, we have.
all righty. We'll move on now. Thank you so much to everybody. If you are finished talking, make sure you mute yourself. Okay, here we come. We are now on to Lucy Lyon, who is helping her friend at the dentist and may be on a phone trying to talk to us, or may be stuck in the waiting room. I'm not sure.
So Myra and I both love cast work because we love sculpture. We love the weight, the depth, the thickness of sculpture. We love the three-dimensionality of sculpture. And so when we saw this beautiful piece by Lucy Lyons, we were immediately struck. We love the fact that the overall tone is a sort of a monochromatic gray. We like the posture of the two individuals. They are at once engaged and at once perplexed, perhaps. You can't be sure exactly what they're thinking and what their relationship is. Her arms are crossed in a defensive posture. He's leaning forward. It's just a very mystical, magical, beautifully executed piece that shows the power and the mystery of sculpture and the beauty and exactness of the work of Lucy Lyons.
All righty. Would anyone like to open up
So-
and discuss anything about Lucy Lyon or this piece? Ah, I see Lucy on her phone. Come on, girl. Unmute, unmute. You got to unmute your, there you are.
Oh.
Okay, we hear you now. Okay, we hear you now.
Okay, that was so sweet to hear. I mean, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Myra. I'm glad that you got something from this piece. So I'm showing, I guess what I haven't actually been able to see what's being shown, but this piece is one of my favorites. And then I recently started doing some canines. And I think that they also have that you're not quite sure what is going on situation. We have a lot of, I just started doing dogs because I was into the Game of Thrones, and it was a lot of fun to try to put a personality into something that wasn't a person. So, and I really enjoyed doing the dogs. So, anything else?
And our surprise for everybody at the 50th will be, she and I have done a collaboration called the Canine Academy, dealing with endless mirrors, but we will unveil it. I still think we should call it Game of Bones, but we will unveil it at the 50th anniversary on that day. So I love working with Lucy so much. We've done a lot of collaborations. We have a really cool one coming up, and these works are so beautiful.
Thank you, Jim.
Anyone else like to say anything about or for or to Lisa or Lucy? There.
What is the title of the first piece?
Departure.
Okay.
Departure. Yeah.
I love the pose of the woman. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Go back to your
Moving-
friend and get her dentist all finished up.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I just was so disorganized.
No.
Okay.
I'm happy you're here. Thanks, Sue. I will see you next
Okay.
week. All right. Bye, Lucy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, moving into Susan Taylor Glasgow, who I just got to talk to this week, which was nice to hear her voice too.
So no collection is complete without a work by Susan Taylor Glasgow. This is a chandelier type piece. It's like Chihuly chandeliers. It has no light emanating from it. You have to illuminate it. But who cares? With a piece like this, however you illuminate it, it's going to be magnificent. It's partially cast. It's got beautiful crystal pieces. It's just a unique piece. So this would be my choice over a small dining room table. It even has a faux light bulb in the middle. So such a playful, intricate, wonderfully executed piece.
All righty, folks. Is there anyone who would like to say
So,
anything
no-
about Susan Taylor Glasgow?
Hey, Tim, it's Laura.
Oh, Laura, yeah, babe, how you doing? You want to talk?
I'm okay. Well, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. And also that Susan started her clothing type work, her dresses and her chandeliers, after I invited her to be in the 2012 glass fashion show at the Corning Museum. And she came up with this incredible, her very first chandelier dress. And she had a model that was going to wear lit candles in place of like the light bulbs, but at the last minute Corning said that was illegal, so we had to rush out and buy, you know, these little flickering fake candles. But Susan has been an integral part of all the glass fashion shows, and I love to see that she used her work that she started with us and continued to make it like larger than life and so fabulous.
Those foundation garments at the Toledo Glass Fashion Show will stay with me forever. They're still iconic for her for eternity.
Yes, yes, she is an incredible artist and a fabulous friend.
And she will be in person at the 50th anniversary.
Great, I'll see you there.
Yeah, I can't wait. Does anyone else want to talk about Susan at all? Okay, I know she's doing a series of purses as well, and these are some of the ones that are going to be at the 50th. Okay, over to Germany we go with Myra and Hal.
Whenever we're at a show where Wilfried Ruten's work is being exhibited, it usually attracts enormous attention, and not without deserve, because his pieces are intricate, colorful, demonstrate the gorgeous interior space of glass. This kind of work really shows the translucent and transparent qualities of art glass. And depending on what direction you're coming at the work from, it looks different. It changes. The light can make it look this or that. It's like an interior world, not unlike some of the earlier work of Tom Petty. But each one is a different world into itself, and one could look at these and study them for hours. This is really magical stuff, in my opinion.
There we go. Now, I would also mention that on that back wall there, you might notice that there were some of his 2D work as well, that it's going to be at the 50th, which is also beautiful. Does anyone want to talk about Wilfried and his work here? I remember when the Imagine Museum, I think Jane's here, was looking at first, it was these beautiful universes kind of caught in glass that was a big thing for Trish. And I think there's a person alive in the glass world does know Wilfried's work. So thank you for that, guys. We'll move on to Brent Kiyon.
An artist whose work we've always admired. The intricacy of his flame work and size of the works overwhelms us. The only thing we are sad about is the fact that we don't have room in our house for some of these magnificent pieces. One stretches for several yards, and it's as if you were going through a cavern if you look at it from the side, but each individual element is beautiful and masterfully done.
Okay, anyone have any thoughts on Mr. Brent Kiyon or the work here? We've all seen it. Fortunately, we were all lucky enough to see his work every time we go in. I don't think Brent's with us today, but maybe we'll get him on another one. Okay, we are now here.
Vladimir Klumpar. This piece, I'm looking at Aaron and thinking I really want to acquire myself. This is probably 7 feet tall. It's a gorgeous color. The curves, interior and exterior, are beautiful. There's interior veiling. It's clearly Czech cast glass at its best, but it has both an exterior and an interior piece. It's very feminine, both in shape and in color. This is a must-have piece.
Well, I think he talked himself into buying it. There we go. Oh, here we go. I think they're in the back, like in the back office area. I'm not sure where they are on that. Does anyone want to say anything about Mr. Klumpar? These are the different ones that are going to be in the show. Some beautiful pieces. So you see at least 3 of those works will be at the 50th. Moving on, here we go.
Bertillo Velene. I remember many, many years ago when we were speaking to Ferd, I asked him who are the 5 greatest glass artists. And one of them that he mentioned was Bertillo Velene. He is still a master of glass. His pieces tell stories. They have symbols of passages. And when you talk to him, he tells such wonderful personal stories about his and very, very intricate art. He is a dear man who lives in Sweden, who often comes to the States to visit. If any of you have an opportunity to get his work or see him personally, it is definitely a treat. This is one of what's called a map series. It's an upright piece. He also does boat forms, as you're all familiar with. There are 2 wonderful boats that I'm standing next to. And over on my right are 4 cube series. Often his work has to do with water, as most Scandinavians are consumed with the concept of water. It's so vital to their life, as well as his boat forms usually symbolize a journey of life. So his art is consistent and wonderfully executed. And as you can see, both the back
I assume they're saying both the back and front have imagery upon it. So does anyone have any Bertillo Velene stories or any thoughts on this work? I know Larry does.
Well, I could just I can only mention that just before COVID was one of Habitat's last trips to Europe. It was a cruise, and we spent a lot of time in Sweden, both at On Wolf's studio, but we spent almost 2 days with Bertillo at Costa Boda and at Bertill's museum, and we saw the church where Bertillo designed the entire altar area of the church. And so we really, those of us who had the good fortune of being on that trip got a real glimpse into the personality and the intensity of Bertillo, and the show that they put on, the choreographed show of them casting, was really one of the most unique experiences. Most of us as collectors have seen dozens and dozens and dozens of performances, but I think Bertillo's is the most unique. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of his work in this exhibit.
Okay, thank you, Larry. I appreciate it.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to Jane Buckman and Trish Dugans. I mean, the exhibition that they had, I think it was in January 2019. Bertillo did a 45-minute presentation the day before, but oh my God, I think they had 5 or 6 rooms full of his work, and it was so fascinating to see the evolution of his work and the variety of it. It was just a magical, magical exhibition. And
I remember they had virtual reality when you put on glasses, and you could actually see like aliens dropping down from spaceships onto his boats. It was an amazing the whole setup was pretty staggering.
yeah.
It was, and thanks, Howard. And all of the work is just fantastic and beautiful. And I think of what we have in our collection, and now seeing this new work, I'm wondering what we can bring on next. I have to hop off the call. I look forward to seeing you all next weekend. This has been great. Tim, you've been fabulous. See you all later.
That was Jane Buckman, who's the director of the Imagine Museum. Bye, Jane. We'll talk to you later.
You bet.
Bye, baby. Okay, here we go. Next, we're on Peter Hora. Only a couple more left, guys.
These are machias of some of his larger pieces. Each one is like a gem. The glass has a purity, and the shape is exquisitely executed. The color is beautiful. There are only minor bubbles, which really is unusual for cast pieces of this size. You don't know which one you like more than the other. They're a wonderful series, and each one deserves time and execution. Take a look at all of them when you're here at the show.
Okay, anyone out there with there's the new one by Peter Hora there. So, does anyone have anything to say about this work or Peter Hora? Just unmute yourself and start talking. Okay, we're gonna move on a little bit. Here is an interesting part of this. Now we're gonna leave the actual show, and many of you may know that while COVID's been going on, the Habitat Galleries put together something called the Vault. And the Vault is all the work they had in boxes in those warehouses is now out, and now it's in this compressed storage. So now if you want to see all the stuff they have in their collection, you can actually go through this back room, and Myra and Hal are going to give this a little shout out. So when we're there, if you go there in person, this back room is filled with just a little bit of everybody, including, I see Alex Bernstein right above their head.
Whenever you come to Habitat, this is a must-see. You've heard the expression back room, and it's usually a room with works that have been in previous shows, stuff that never sold, and whatever. And we always go to a gallery's back room. But have you ever heard of a back warehouse? This is unbelievable. When we first saw it, our mouths dropped. First of all, this is a commercial warehouse. They painted it totally white. They put in racks, and it's filled with wonderful work. You could spend a week here. Bring water and food though, because you'll love it. There's great work, and you shouldn't miss it when you come to Habitat.
So our journey in collecting glass has brought so much happiness to our lives and yours, I'm sure. But visiting Habitat, whether it's the gallery or the vault, is something that you must do. It's been fun sharing these artists' works with you. Aaron and Corey and Ferd are here to help you make your selections. We hope you choose wisely, but you can't go wrong.
Well, of course, a huge thank you to Myra and Hal, who have been so instrumental in my life and certainly in Habitat's. And how lovely of them to take the time yesterday just to walk through the show that's only partially put up and make those comments for us. I'm sure it took a lot of time out of their day, and I couldn't have been more thrilled. Thank you so much, Myra and Hal, from everybody here.
Tim, I just want to say on behalf of the AACG, I want to thank you for taking this at such last notice and under the circumstances, and for moderating this show. And again, I want to thank Hal and Myra. And on behalf of the organization, we want to send our condolences to Kathy on the loss of her mother. So carry on, Tim.
You know, I never need thank you for this. I would do this just for fun. This, to me, I would come to every one of these just to look at glass. I could talk about it with every one of you here. I would neck with Laura Donifer. I would hold hands with Linda Green. I don't care. I'd kiss Howard on top of his head. I just love doing these glass events. So this is just a pleasure of mine. No need to ever thank me. And I guess we're doing a Habitat Zoom on Saturday at 1 o'clock. This is going to be for Not Your Grandma's Glass. This is going to be Joe Ivacek's big moment here. You want to tell us a little bit about it, Joe? Unmute yourself.
I'm here.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be exploring two different bodies of work, stuff that you had previously seen, and then I've got a brand new body of work that I'll be sharing, and I'm looking forward to the conversations that come with the work. So the show is titled Coming Together.
All right, can't wait. So 1 o'clock Saturday for that Zoom with the Habitat folks. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see the show. And that, my friends, is the end of that. So I'm back on, put yourself back on gallery view. And this is the time when we all chat with each other and say our goodbyes.
Could I say something first, Tim?
Of course, Francine, please do.
First of all, we had planned to be at the celebration, but because of some health concerns that I have and because of the risk of COVID, we're not going to be there. And I don't know all of you, and it makes me very sad because when I was president in the 70s, I knew everybody. And I knew all the artists, and we've been, as Myra put it, they're like family. I've stayed with them, they've stayed with us. I don't need to tell you because I'm sure that's part of your own history, but I miss all of you. I see Laura, we have a history from many, so long, and Alex, I know your parents and have your mother's work, and we have been very blessed to live with the artists and all the memories that just fill my heart. And I'm just so sorry that we can't be there. And I just wanted to say that. I know it's going to be a wonderful celebration. And I love what the spirituality that comes with having glass in your life. And I am a very spiritual, mindful person. And every day I enjoy the glass. It makes my life so. And the glass that talks to me the most is what I guess I want to say to tell the universe about. So I wish you all a wonderful celebration, and I'm so sorry that we can't be there.
We'll catch you on the next.
Thank you for letting me have a minute of time.
No problem.
Miss you too, Francine. I'm so sorry. And
see you on
unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it